prepare yourself to practice patience. Transformation occurs in transformation's time. Butterflies are free, and so shall we be. Over 8 months of anticipation. This film is for Jessica, for you, and for me. For us, I extend myself beyond previous limits, determined by lack of trust. Motivated by love, one can break through blockages. Motivated by love, many may move mountains to make amends, to ease burden and pain, to catalyze healing and thus be healed. Harnessing the collective powers, built and bonded generation after generation, spiraling back to our deepest common roots. We have survived these divisions. Now let us thrive through enduring compassion. Let us treasure each individual's humanity for their inherent worth and infinite potential. We are far more precious than we have come to believe. Here and now, we can choose to release our divisive conditioning. All we've been taught about ourselves, each other, and the world that we know in our hearts is wrong. We can release oppressive ideas about our moral fiber, our physical bodies, needs, and desires. We can choose an alternative to never-ending hierarchies and the ceaseless scramble they create. Let it be done. Let it be decided. Let it be. We are all now sentenced to healing. Our glorious fate is sealed. We spread our wings. We take flight. Peace is on the horizon. That is where we are headed. To our future filled with rainbows. Where we all get to live the sweet life. Where we are all free. Free from the fight. Free to find our frequency. Time stretching out before us like sand and sea. Basking in the sun, loved ones always there to lean on. We have arrived at the moment when dreams become destination. Us, universally sacred. universally sacred. Sacred Spiral ASMR. I don't want to write a script. I don't want to tell a story. I want to share this experience with you from my heart. Has something occurred in your life that connected your past to your present and allowed you to better see your future? I have always learned my best lessons from nature. This particular lesson was 30 years in the making. I've always felt a kinship with the Fae and have found evidence of fairies in nature wherever I go. When one does not have a deep well of positive childhood memories to draw from, the positive memories that do exist become as precious as gold. One such golden nugget in my mind and heart took place on a sunny day in a lawn of green grass. I remember reclining back on my elbows, my legs crossed in front of me. I was looking at my leg, admiring my pants, white pants with colorful candies all over them, when a beautiful butterfly landed on my leg, yellow and black, big and so beautiful. I remember wanting to stay like that forever, peaceful, connected to this magical creature. Outside human interference often cuts short these special experiences we have. Once that experience had fully played out, I was left with they are. They will intimidate others and push them away out of fear of being hurt themselves. This had me think more deeply than ever about the common reactions between creatures on Earth and seeing the parallels between the behaviors of the caterpillars and the behaviors of frightened humans was very helpful for me in processing all that I was seeing and hearing and experiencing. It helped me to realize that while our cycle of transformation as humans may not look as profound, we do indeed have as powerful an ability to transform ourselves as individuals and as an evolving species.
We do have a chrysalis. See? Don't know if you can see it. Let's see if we can get any closer. Looks like a little piece of wood. There it is. There it is. Then I believe we have another pretty big orange dog caterpillar hanging out. That's what they call them when they get to the point where they have those little orange, like tusks almost, that come out when they're feeling threatened. I think they actually have like a funk to them too, for further protection. I'm trying to find the guy. Hopefully we won't end up with just the one. Oh, there he is. If you can kind of see him, he's kind of hiding. Hey, little friend. Let's see, get a better angle on him. There he is. There he is. And I think the rest may have not made it. It's a pretty small tree and they get a bit aggressive with each other if they think they're not going to have enough food. There's another branch out there that I can't quite get out to see, but there might be some on there as well. So exciting. Butterflies.
I discovered 3 of these well camouflaged chrysalises on the tree. I felt a large sense of responsibility to keep these creatures safe. Feeling that I had the approval of the butterfly breeders on YouTube, I followed their tips for securing the chrysalises and I brought them inside.
Here's how you can tell that they are alive. flexible abdomens.
I learned so much in researching how to protect and take care of these magical and vulnerable beings. The names for these creatures came to me spontaneously. I found myself writing you, me, us, because it was so clear and obvious. This is you, this is me, and this is us. Here we are, hidden behind hardened exteriors, coming apart inside as we imagine what we will become. In chrysalis, a caterpillar releases enzymes, completely turning into liquid, with the exception of a specialized cell called imaginal discs. Isn't that poetic and beautiful? These cells hold the code, the information to design the butterfly, the wings, the antenna, the proboscis, all the parts laid out there in the imaginal discs, all that potential suspended in liquid, protected by this woody shell, wanting to help you, me, and us feel as comfortable and at home as possible. I began bringing in flowers. I spent many hours and days with them, basking in this energy of potential, understanding this sense of coming apart so that you may come back together again, a more evolved creature. I was amazed at how resilient and sturdy the material of the chrysalis was while the caterpillar was still inside, or rather while what used to be the caterpillar was inside, compared to once the butterfly had emerged. The fragility of this protective barrier becomes apparent. What allows the chrysalis to survive wind and hailstorms crumbles in your hand once the butterfly has emerged, if you are not exceedingly careful. While doing its job, the chrysalis remains flexible to allow for the growth and movement inside. I think of how natural and normal it is for human beings to put up these walls, either consciously or subconsciously, around our energy centers, around our lives, and our hearts in particular, and how we somehow manage to remain functional with all of these blocks in place. And once removed, once we have moved forward, we see how truly fragile and unnecessary they were. But only once we have moved forward. The reason it is so natural and normal to build these protective walls is because they do indeed protect us when we need them. The troublesome part is keeping them up too often, building them too high, keeping out the positive as well as that which would harm us. but maybe you wanted to be alone. You were really wanting to go outside when I found you on my windowsill. It took a couple of minutes and some gentle encouragement to get you on to the flower to bring you outside. I didn't want to touch you unless you crawled onto me. I wanted it to be your choice, also knowing that if you became too comfortable with me, you might not be as safe out in the wild around other humans. The energy of you was unique, different than me, different than us. You seemed so ready to go. You didn't need me.
Butterflies are free. Isn't she beautiful?
All I needed to do was not get in your way. I wanted to record your glorious takeoff, but you did that quickly and in your time as well. I saw you fly away into the flowers. You looked safe, and I felt okay to let you go. But it was still hard knowing that I couldn't protect you anymore. Not in the same way. I still think of you and imagine where you might be and hope that you are well and happy and safe. I began taking time-lapse video every single night, and when I would leave my room for longer than a few minutes, I ended up with a lot of video and deleting a lot of video. I thought it was so cool how I could see me and us moving like they were dancing, like we were dancing, and each with our own unique style. Me moving back and forth, us much more into large vertical movements, suddenly and less frequently than the little motor movement of me. Generations past stand guard, watching over us, reminding us that life goes on. Weeks passed, and for some reason I thought maybe a change of environment would really do the trick. So I brought in this beautiful African lily, also called lily of the Nile. To me, it looks like a soul star flower. I thought this flower would be the most beautiful place for these butterflies to emerge. One thing that really bumped up the special factor on this experience was being able to share it with my children. Seeing their wonder and their joy helped me to connect that feeling that I had as an odd child with the way that I feel today, a child grown up, still in awe. For me, experiences take on a deeper richness when was such an incredible experience and made me so happy to feel the chrysalises move in my hand, to see them move, to know that they were still alive, that I hadn't hurt them by trying to help them, bringing them inside, changing their environment. One vital key to chrysalis care is hydration. I needed to mist these every couple of days. What you see on the chrysalises here is their silk. 16th, I could see the butterfly inside of us. And on that same day, again around 4 o'clock, us, or rather we, emerged. But first, blessings wanted to be exchanged. All of these transformational, metamorphic beings all experience immense change. Some grow and change rapidly using the support of the trees before taking to air. Some changing gradually underneath the surface of the earth, or in the earth's waters and volcanoes. Heat, pressure, and time creating change. These energies together giving me so much more to contemplate. I wonder again about human beings and how quickly we are capable of changing, both as individuals and as a collective species. I imagine as individuals it varies, just as it varies among individual butterflies, crystals, and stones. We must also consider the changes being made and the circumstances and environment. Hello, my friend. I'll escort you outside if you want to grab onto the flower, my friend. Go ahead. Go ahead. Grab on, my friend. You can do it. You can do it, friend.
So good. Come on.
You've got it, honey. You've got it. Come on, sweetheart.
You want to go outside?
It's okay, beautiful.
Good job, beautiful. Good job. It's alright. Good job.
Bye. Aw, it's like she's waving. Hi.
So strong.
I know.
How are your wings? Oh, darling.
Done it, my friend. This is where we released one of your pals when you were a baby.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll see each other again in adulthood.
Just wanna see us off. Maybe I should have waited a little longer inside.
We are very curious, wanting to explore different environments. We spend quite a bit of time together
I just want to see
before
you fly.
us
See
flew away into the trees, walking around, drying in the wind. A strong breeze knocked us down, and we weren't ready to be left alone. I felt trusted, honored, blessed when us crawled onto my finger to continue our exploration. The energy of us was far less independent than you. Us, as the name implies, had, or rather has, very strong energy of interdependence. I didn't feel a desperate need of codependence, but rather this bond and connection, an implied trust.
We'll just preposterous for a second.
Proboscis.
Proboscis, yeah. Not proboscis.
It's okay. It's okay.
I would like to hold us, but if us doesn't want to, then it's okay.
Some people will grab them by the wings or put them in a cage. Butterflies are free, right?
Yeah. You're free.
Humans and nature. Humans in nature. Humans are nature. What to do when we are already involved? The popular series My Octopus Teacher
Maybe.
and these creatures in my care brought this to the forefront of my mind.
Wanna fly soon? Huh?
You can do it. You can do it. You can do it.
So close.
Does it think your hand is a flower?
I know.
I think we get confused about our place in nature. The man in the movie seemed to
You
be
know us, don't you?
Which us do you mean?
Us knows us.
Ah.
people have impacted pollinators, and this fellow influenced his octopus friend by befriending her. She went places she never would have gone and took risks she never would have taken.
I just want to reach out and touch him, but I know I might hurt him.
Because because she trusted this human to help her. A bond was formed, an unspoken contract signed. The more vulnerable creature in the partnership exchanging their company and all the gifts that come with that for protection, for a sense of safety they have not yet known. As humans, we cannot apply the tactic of do not get involved in nature. We are nature. We are involved. The question is, do we help, and how? How often does helping risk hurting? I think the answers exist if we listen closely enough.
Start your new life.
To our own intuition, to others who care,
You ready to go start your new life?
and to the many unspeaking voices of life on Earth.
You gonna take flight? It's okay if you're not ready yet.
Yeah. Good job. Flapping the wings. Flap those wings. Yay. Good job. Good job.
So close.
Flap those wings.
You can do it. You can do it.
You're so brave. Brand new life in the sky. You've got this. Spread those wings. Keep those birdies away, huh?
I'm ready to gently shoo a bird away.
My mind drifts to all the ways that people put pressure on one another to do things out of their time before they're ready, whether or not they would ever be ready. And I think how beautiful and wonderful it will be when we are able to trust and care for one another in a way that will allow us to feel empowered and safe to explore, knowing that someone trusted is looking after us, protecting us, and won't leave us before we are ready to fly sometimes they require the overwintering process, as you, me, and us did. As a collective, we seem to evolve more like crystals and stones, taking time, hundreds of years, thousands of years, even millions of years for some changes to take place. However, there are rapid bursts of growth that take place in relatively short periods of time in both the crystal and human development.
Thinking about it, aren't you?
Never truly separated, we are part of a whole, connected by common roots, that we would be well served to remember. When we forget, it becomes easy to dishonor and harm the entire tree, attempting to claim it as our own, carving our name into it with no thought to the pain it might cause. This place, these energies, these resources are to be shared. Born of the same mother, nurtured in the same cradle of life, we are family. In nature, family units sacrifice for those in greatest need. The most evolved species knowing that there is far We have arrived at a place in history through our collective efforts where we are finally capable of moving beyond this highly competitive energy into a place of cooperation where we will find peace. I think the butterflies know this. I think there's something in those imaginal discs, something inside them all along, those caterpillars who would destroy one another out of fear of lack. Surrounded by leaves, they still attack. But once we come apart, and once we put ourselves back together, we are capable of an entirely new way of life. Flying free, having risen above, we can see the abundance in all its reality and clarity. Abundance. Flowers to fruit as far as the eye can see. Enough, more than enough, for you, us, and me. One magical emergence remaining. For me, I knew I had to be there. It was lovely to see us on video, and I wanted the live experience as well, so much. This is where I can be extreme, perhaps a fool. But to me, love is love, universal love, and I love these butterflies. In this sort of midwifery mode for months, I was exhausted, requesting that I remain in Chrysalis until I was there to support me, requesting, not asking, just saying, if it's alright with you, I would like to be there, to help, to see, to experience. If you can wait until I am here. I sat, watching, talking to, absorbing all of the beautiful, amazing energy from me in those last hours. After us emerged, after we were out and flying, the butterfly in me became visible almost immediately. You can see these changes occurring in the overnight time lapse on the 17th. On June 18th, between 2:30 and 3 o'clock, I emerged. The experience was surreal, perhaps in part because of the lack of sleep, but I doubt it. It was truly magical. also see the butterfly inside us. Do you feel the coming apart and know the potential? Can you imagine the earth of abundance from above all that has held us down and apart? How passionately do you want to see it with your own two eyes? What would you give to see all of us, to have all of us beyond the rainbow, on the other side of all this struggle? Would you give your life? Would you give your love? When we truly give for the greater good, we do not experience loss. This true sacrifice gives back so much more than it takes away. This is where we trust. This is where we have faith that when we trade in our fear, our bitterness, denial, negative core beliefs, outdated patterns of thought, and commitment to cruel constructs, everything that has held
my friend. Please don't hurt my friend.
Butterflies are free, and so shall we be. This film is for you and for me. For us, I extend myself beyond previous limits. We spread our wings. We take flight. Peace is on the horizon. That is where we are headed. To our future filled with rainbows. Where we all get to live the sweet life. Where we are all free. Free from the fight. Free to find our frequency. Time stretching out before us like sand and sea. Basking in the sun with toasty toes. Loved ones always there to lean on. We have arrived at the moment when dreams become destination. Us, universally sacred. Motivated by love, one can break through blockages. Motivated by love, many may move mountains to make amends, to ease burden and pain, to catalyze healing and thus be healed. Harnessing the collective powers, built and founded generation after generation, spiraling back to our deepest common roots. We have survived these divisions. Now let us thrive through enduring compassion. Let us treasure each individual's humanity, for their inherent worth and infinite potential. We are far more precious than we have come to believe. Here and now, we can choose to release our divisive conditioning. All we've been taught about ourselves, each other, and the world that we know in our hearts is wrong. We can release oppressive ideas about our moral fiber, our physical bodies, needs, and desires. We can choose an alternative to never-ending hierarchies and the ceaseless scramble they create. Let it be done. Let it be decided. Let it be. We are all now sentenced to healing. Our glorious fate is sealed. Us, universally sacred.